On the day I went into labor, all the physicians and midwives arranged by the manor had vanished without a trace. The nanny wept as she said, "My lady, the manor's physicians and midwives have all been summoned by the prince to Hibiscus Lane. I heard that someone there went into premature labor. Hibiscus Lane, that was where the prince's most cherished mistress, my half-sister Yu Li, resided. My half-sister was not due for another month, yet in her desperation to bear the prince's firstborn son, she had taken labor-inducing medicine just as I went into labor, determined to deliver before I did. Because of the nighttime curfew, I couldn't leave the mansion to find a midwife, and I died in childbirth. While the celebratory firecrackers from Hibiscus Lane resounded through the skies, Yueli had given the prince his firstborn son. I breathed my last amidst the sound of firecrackers. When I opened my eyes again, I heard the prince instructing the steward, "Send all the midwives and physicians to Hibiscus Lane." Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. The steward asked in a low voice, "But your highness, the princess consort is also nearing her time. If all the physicians and midwives are taken away, what if the princess consort goes into labor?" "My good husband," Prince Pingyang Xieyang sighed, "it's all right. There are plenty of clinics near the royal residence, so it will be convenient to find a midwife and a doctor when the time comes. But Yueli has a weak constitution. I won't feel at ease unless she has a highly skilled doctor and an experienced midwife." The steward agreed but hesitated for a moment. Last time the imperial physician mentioned that the princess's fetal position is not ideal, and there might be danger during childbirth. This midwife Wang is the most skilled in the entire capital. Should we keep her? Xieyang lowered his voice. "Just do as I say. Yueli is already wronged by not being allowed into the royal residence. I promised to give her the very best of everything. Yueru already has it all. Is she really lacking just one midwife, a delicate woman like Yueli, who gave her all to bear my child? I promised that her child would inherit the princely estate in the future, yet she foolishly prepared labor-inducing medicine, ready to take it as soon as the princess consort went into labor. She wanted to give birth to my firstborn son. This fool, she was willing to risk her life for me. Tell the physician to prescribe medicine to delay the princess consort's delivery, to postpone the onset of labor. Let the child in Yueli's womb develop a bit longer, so her risk during childbirth will be reduced." The steward wiped his sweat. "If we delay any further, the physician says both the princess consort and the child in her womb will be in danger. It's already several days past the due date." My nail broke off as I gripped the window frame with too much force. The bright red Polish stark against the snow, a shocking sight. No wonder the midwife said I should have gone into labor at the beginning of the month, but after taking the doctor's medicine, it's been almost 10 days and still no signs of labor. It turns out Xieyang had instructed the doctor to tamper with it. He doesn't care if I and the child in my womb end up dead together. All he cares about is giving his child with Yu Li a few more days in the womb. I slowly backed away. The nanny looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Your Highness, how could the prince treat you like this? Has he forgotten how he begged to marry you back then?" I held back the stinging tears in my eyes and said, "Perhaps it was true back then, and it's probably also true that he now despises me and loves Yu Li." I caressed my belly and clenched my teeth. Since heaven has given me a chance to live again, I must not let myself die as miserably as I did in my past life. I thought about how, after my death, Xieyang immediately welcomed Yu Li into the household and infeft their illegitimate child as the heir. Yu Li held the child and boasted before my spirit tablet, "So what if you were the legitimate daughter of the Marquis's household?" In the end, I still got everything I wanted: your husband, your position, and even the heirship meant for your child. Because I am a concubine's daughter, the prince loves me, yet he can only keep me hidden away as an outsider. Why should I endure all this suffering while you live in luxury and comfort? All of this can only be mine. The prince promised he would grant me a lifetime of wealth and honor, and now he has fulfilled his word. Sister, you and the child in your womb can live peacefully underground. As for the worldly riches and glory, I will gladly enjoy them on your behalf." Xieyang held her close. "The imperial decree from the palace has arrived. I have requested an honorary title for you. Go and prepare yourself." I watched them walk away with smug smiles, only then realizing that all the rumors about the deep love between the couple and the prince doting on his wife were nothing but a big joke. "My lady, what should we do now?" The nanny's call snapped me back to reality. I caressed my belly and whispered a few instructions to her. She nodded and immediately went to arrange for the tasks. That night, Xieyang returned to have dinner with me. Just as he picked up a bite of food for me, he said, "You've seemed out of sorts these past couple of days. You need to nourish yourself properly. Have you taken the medicine the doctor prescribed? I always thought that bitter medicine was for stabilizing the pregnancy, but I never expected it was actually to delay my labor. I frowned and pretended to say, I don't want to drink it, it's too bitter. Xie Yang immediately took the medicine and coaxed, all right, the princess consort has worked hard, the baby in your belly is the treasure of our royal mansion, you must obediently take the medicine to ensure the safe birth of our legitimate heir. A safe birth? He probably wishes I could die in the delivery room. He brought the bitter medicine to my lips. I'll feed you, my lady. I've had someone buy candied fruits. Have one after the medicine and it won't taste bitter. Just as he spoke, the prince's guard entered, sweating profusely. Your Highness, there is an urgent document in the study that requires your attention. Xie Yang's expression changed instantly. He set down the medicine bowl, not even caring that the liquid splashed out. My lady, don't wait for me tonight. I may be handling matters until very late. With those words, he rushed out in a flash. I smiled bitterly. It must be Yu Li sending for him again from Hibiscus Lane. As soon as he left, I stood up. Have the carriage prepared. My carriage took a shortcut and arrived outside the mansion on Lotus Lane. Before long, Xie Yang's carriage pulled up, and a beautiful woman rushed out. Your Highness, why are you so late? Yu Li's child has been restless all day, he misses his father. Xie Yang, full of tenderness, scooped her into his arms, kissed her, and hurried into the mansion. It's all my fault, I'll stay with you tonight and not go back. Yu Li giggled coyly. But, Your Highness, aren't you afraid my sister will find out? She's about to give birth too, and the child in her womb is your firstborn. I have no status now, it's just pitiful that this child might be mocked someday as an illegitimate son. As she spoke, her eyes reddened. Xie Yang comforted, my eldest son. I only wish to come from your womb. Your sister is easily deceived, she won't notice, thinking I'm busy with official duties. Rest assured, once you give birth to the child, I will find a way to make her agree to let you into the mansion. Yu Li smiled and buried her head in his neck. Your Highness is so good to Yu Li. In the future, Yu Li will give you a daughter too. All right. They entered the residence, and the gate closed before my eyes. I shut my eyes, tears falling. And that heart finally died, I said coldly. Return to the Marquis's residence. Fortunately, everything has yet to begin, and this time, there is still time to change it all. Seeing me return in the night wind, my mother was heartbroken. Why are you back so late? You're so heavily pregnant. If there was something, you could have just asked me to go to the prince's residence instead. Looking at my mother, my nose tingled with emotion. In my past life, I died in childbirth, and my father, busy with urgent military affairs at the border, couldn't return to the capital. When my mother saw the tragic scene of both mother and child dead, she vomited blood. Now, seeing her again, I threw myself into her arms. Mother, you missed you. Mother helped me inside with a pained heart. Once I had finally warmed up, she looked at my expression and asked seriously, has something happened? No matter what it is, you must tell your mother. Has the prince treated you poorly? She knew I deeply loved Xie Yang, and no one else could unsettle me like he did. Tears fell as I told her about Yu Li becoming Xie Yang's mistress and being pregnant with his child. Mother slammed the table and stood up. That wretched woman, last year, she said she was going to the temple to pray for her deceased aunt, but less than 2 months later, she was reported missing and couldn't be found anywhere. So she's been hiding in the capital all along, serving as the prince's mistress. She knows full well that the prince is your husband. How dare she? Of course she dares, because I told mother everything I knew, pretending I overheard it outside the study, how they sent away the physician and midwife, and made me drink the medicine to delay labor. Mother's face turned ashen, her back stiffening. The Prince of Pingyang is a prince in name only, a title that sounds grand but holds no real power. Your aunt is an imperial consort, and your marriage was decreed by His Majesty. If Xie Yang dares to harm you to protect that little wench, your father and I will stake our lives to see his head roll. Your aunt has adored you since you were a child, and she will certainly stand up for you. Tomorrow, I will go to the palace to see the consort. His favor made her fearless, and together they plotted to kill me so she could take my place. When I returned to the mansion, Xie Yang was indeed not back. As the curfew had begun, I ordered, close the courtyard gate. The prince won't be returning tonight. The next day, I woke up refreshed and took a stroll in the garden. The imperial physician had advised me to walk more before giving birth. Hearing a meow, I turned around to see Xie Yang, holding a tabby cat he had brought back, smiling at me. I found this cat after finishing my duties today and brought it back to keep you company. As she spoke, she placed the cat on the ground, I took a step back. In my previous life, I had seen this cat. Yu Li had held it in her arms when she came to pay respects before my spirit tablet. This was Yu Li's cat. Meow. The cat suddenly seemed startled, as if it had caught a familiar scent, and pounced toward me. I couldn't retreat in time, and the cat slammed hard into my stomach. A sharp pain shot through me. The maid screamed. The princess's water has broken, she's going into labor. Xie Yang shouted. Stop this chaos, help the princess back to her room at once. I tightly gripped the matron's hand and gave her a meaningful look, watching her slip away unnoticed. I finally felt at ease. Waves of pain washed over me, and I cried out, quick, call the physician and the midwife. A maid, wiping sweat from her brow, replied, Your Highness, both the physician and the midwife have disappeared. No one knows where they went. Xie Yang feigned anger and demanded, How could they just vanish? My personal maid sharply ordered my guards. That physician and midwife took the princess's money, 100 taels of silver, and now they've run off with it. Report this to the authorities and charge them with fraud and endangering lives. Once the authorities are informed, with the identity of the Princess of Pingyang, they would be captured within half a day, and the matter would be exposed. Xie Yang said in a panic, We can't report this to the authorities. I know where the physician and midwife are. They were borrowed by another lady who was giving birth. My eyes turned red with fury. Your Highness, I am about to give birth. I have kept a midwife and physician in the residence every day to ensure my safety, and you lent them out. To whom? Send for them to return immediately. He replied impatiently. What difference does it make which physician or midwife it is? I can't go back on my word after lending them out. We'll just find another physician and midwife. Aren't you afraid others will say you're bullying people by relying on your status as the princess consort? I was in so much pain that cold sweat broke out. Only they have been treating me all along and know the condition of the child in my womb best. Go get them back immediately. Could it be that person's childbirth is more important than your princess consort and your own flesh and blood? Xie Yang hemmed and hawed. And I finally tore off all pretense. Your Highness, could it be that you would rather have the midwife and the doctor idly waiting on your mistress, while turning a blind eye to your own lawful wife and legitimate son struggling in difficult labor? Is it that Xin Yueli is in labor right now, and you want to protect her as she gives birth to your first son? As soon as I spoke, Xie Yang turned pale and flustered. You know, when did you find out? He gritted his teeth and decided to lay all his cards on the table. Since you know, I won't hide it from you. Yueli is about to give birth too, and I'm worried about her being alone. That's why I sent the doctor and midwife to look after her. She said this morning that her stomach felt a bit uncomfortable and she might be going into early labor. I only feel at ease if they take care of Yueli. The child she gives birth to is also my flesh and blood. As the legal wife, surely you can't be so heartless. The midwife and doctor you chose are the best. I am very reassured. I pushed him away and slapped him across the face. Smack. Xie Yang's face immediately turned red. The people I chose are naturally good, but the husband I chose is disgusting. Prince, how dare you take away the midwife and doctor to care for your mistress while your wife is in labor? Aren't you afraid the censors will impeach you for favoring a concubine over your wife? Xie Yang seemed to snap back to his senses. Someone, close the manor gates. No one is allowed in or out, a matron asked. But the people sent to fetch the doctor and midwife haven't returned to the manor yet, Xie Yang said coldly. Aren't there matrons and experienced women in the mansion who have given birth before? Could it be that none of them know how to deliver a baby? Summon those servants who have given birth to assist the princess consort with the delivery. The pain in my abdomen grew stronger with each wave, my vision darkened, and I gritted my teeth. It was not yet time to faint. Xie Yang, you've been secretly keeping Yu Li as your mistress behind my back, hoping she would bear your first son, while giving me medicine to delay my labor, haven't you? Do you truly disregard the lives of me and our child, all for the sake of Xin Yu Li? If you knew it would come to this, why did you plead with the empress and the emperor to marry me? Why didn't you just marry Xin Yueli? Xie Yang turned his face away. You were just luckier than Yueli, being the legitimate daughter of the Marquis's household, since you've taken the position of the principal consort. Once Yueli gives birth, I will elevate her to the status of a secondary consort in the mansion. Of course, her child will also be registered under your name and raised as the legitimate heir. The physician has said that your child is a girl, while Yueli's is a boy. You can't expect my royal household to be left without a successor, can you? Attendants, escort the consort to her chamber and summon the midwife for the delivery. A servant rushed in anxiously. Your Highness, the princess's mother is at the gate demanding entry. I urged. Quick, let my mother in." Xie Yang stopped them abruptly. "Guards, go tell the Marchioness that the princess is well." But the master divined that she must not meet relatives during childbirth. "Please ask the Marchioness to return home and await news." He knew that if my mother entered, the truth would be exposed. By stopping her, he was trying to force me to my death. I lost all strength, tears sliding from the corners of my eyes. "Xie Yang, I beg you, let my mother into the mansion." Xie Yang helped me onto the bed. "Don't worry, princess consort, once you give birth, you will naturally see her." My maid knelt on the ground, kowtowing. "Your Highness, I beg you to let our old mistress in. The princess consort is having a difficult labor, and the servants in the mansion don't know how to deliver a baby. She will die." My nails dug fiercely into the back of his hand as I glared at him. "Xie Yang, are you trying to force me to death so that Yu Li can enter the mansion? Is that it?" Xie Yang turned his face away, unmoved. "Yu Li is simple by nature and won't compete with you over these things. Don't overthink it." With that, he turned and left without looking back. "Take good care of the princess and help her deliver the baby." "Xie Yang, you have such a cruel heart. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go." My vision went black, and the maid's scream echoed in my ears. "The princess has fainted. Help." My maid rushed out to the outer courtyard to open the door for my mother but was firmly stopped. The maid, Pearl, cried out, "The princess consort has fainted. Are you trying to kill her? Please, open the door for the marquise." But no one paid her any attention. With a loud crash, someone outside the courtyard exclaimed in alarm, "Oh no, the Marquise of Jingyuan has brought people and smashed open the main gate of Pingyang Manor." Bitter medicine was poured into my mouth, and I slowly regained consciousness. The nanny cried out joyfully, "The princess consort is awake. Doctor, quickly, the princess consort is awake." The doctor and midwife who had been summoned to Hibiscus Lane rushed in. The nanny held my hand and said, "Don't be afraid. Princess, the Marchioness has arrived." She brought back the midwife and doctor from Hibiscus Lane. "She's outside now, and no one can harm you." "Do you think our Jingyuan Marquisate is a pushover?" Outside the room, my mother's angry voice rang out. "Xie Yang, my daughter wasn't forced upon you. You begged for her hand. If it weren't for the Marquis's guarantee, do you really think you'd be sitting in the position of a prince? It's just an empty title. Yet you really think you're something special, taking the physician and midwife to that wretched woman, nearly causing your lawful wife to lose her child in the womb. There's no need to wait for the Marquis to return. I can go straight to the palace and report this to the noble consort." Xie Yang's voice was intermittent. "Mother-in-law, it's not like that. It's just that Yueli is a concubine-born daughter and not to your liking. Yueru is jealous and petty, and I didn't dare to bring Yueli into the household to upset her, so I had to keep her outside these past few days. She hasn't been well and is about to give birth. I was just worried about her, so I sent the midwife over to take care of her." Outrageous. How dare a mere mistress act so arrogantly, spoiled by favor, for the prince to dote on a concubine and neglect his wife, disregarding the princess's life? What does that say about our Jingyuan Marquisate? Xie Yang raised his voice. "But Yueli is also a concubine-born daughter of the Marquisate. You are her legal mother too. How can you show such favoritism? Aren't you afraid people will say the mistress of Jingyuan Marquis Manor is harsh? Yueli has been bullied by her legitimate sister and mother in the mansion. I thought you were at least a virtuous lady among the noble women of the capital, but I never expected you to be so heartless. Yueli is unwell today. She is 8 months pregnant. What will happen to her if you call the doctor and midwife away now?" Mother let out a cold laugh. "A concubine-born daughter who faked her disappearance and eloped with an outsider. I have already informed the clan leader to remove her from the Shun family register. She is no longer a concubine-born daughter of our Marquis Manor." Listening from inside the room, I felt my blood boil with anger. His eyes and heart were only concerned with Yueli, how she would manage, how much she made him ache with pity, how pitiful she was, but not a single word of concern was spared for me. The midwife instructed me, "Your Highness, you must not lose your composure, follow my words and push with all your might, so you can safely deliver the child." Suddenly, chaos erupted outside as someone rushed in and shouted, "Your Highness, Lady Li is about to give birth and is in unbearable pain. Please send the physician and midwife to save her." Xie Yang immediately dashed toward the delivery room, yelling frantically from outside, "Yueru, send the physician and midwife out. Yueli is about to give birth." My mother, true to her general's daughter spirit, roared, "Guards, surround the main courtyard. Let's see who dares to take the midwife and physician from this room today." My mind was in turmoil, and I nearly fainted. The doctor cried out, "Quick, brew the medicine and give it to the princess consort. She's exhausted and might be in danger. Xie Yang was still pounding on the door. If you don't come out, beware that I might take your lives. He turned to look at my mother-in-law. This is Pingyang Manor, and I am the prince. Do I need your interference to arrange for a midwife from our own household? My mother stood firm as a mountain. Prince of Pingyang, I am the wife of the Marquis of Jingyuan. If anyone dares to put my daughter in danger today, I will not hesitate to risk my life. Besides, the midwife and the physician were hired with the Marquis's money, not a single penny from your prince's estate. If you want to find someone to deliver the child, you can look all over the capital, but don't even think about taking my daughter's people. Xie Yang was furious and about to lose his temper when his mother waved her hand, and the Marquis's guards immediately surrounded her. The little maid cried out, "Your Highness, please hurry, Lady Li has been calling your name." Xie Yang said fiercely, "If anything happens to Yueli, I won't let you off." There was a chaotic sound of footsteps outside the room, followed by a sudden silence. Mother entered the delivery room, gently stroking me and smiling softly. "Yueru, don't be afraid, with your mother here, no one can harm you." Summoning the last of my strength, I said weakly, "Mother, I want a divorce from Xie Yang." Mother gently wiped the sweat from my forehead. "Don't worry, once you've given birth, I will seek an imperial decree for your divorce." The midwife cried out, "Push, Your Highness, I can see the baby's head." I summoned all my strength and pushed. Feeling my body go limp, darkness clouded my vision, and in my ears echoed a loud cry, "Congratulations, Your Highness, you've given birth to a young prince." The people sent by the Marquis's residence to investigate reported that Yueli from Hibiscus Lane had originally feigned illness to keep someone by her side. Upon hearing that I had gone into labor at the prince's residence, she immediately ordered someone to brew a labor-inducing potion. Striving to give birth before me and ensure her child would be Xie Yang's firstborn son, little did she know that after becoming pregnant, she had grown overly delicate, complaining of exhaustion after just a few steps. Pampered with fine food and drink every day, when she went into labor prematurely, she realized she had no strength left at all. She was delicate and weak, but she had eaten too much, and the baby was too large. She screamed for 2 days and 1 night, giving birth to a daughter. As weak as a kitten, the midwife congratulated her cheerfully. "Congratulations, madam, on the birth of your daughter." Yueli snatched the daughter frantically. "How could it be a daughter? The doctor said it was a son by feeling my pulse." "You've swapped my son. Are you sent by that poisonous woman Shen Yueru?" "My lord, I clearly gave birth to a son. How could it be a daughter?" "I bore the eldest son of the royal mansion," a maid nearby replied. "Madam, the princess of the mansion gave birth to a young heir a day ago. Now the entire capital is rushing to offer congratulations." Yueli went into a frenzy, smashing things. How could she have given birth to a son? It was clearly I who was carrying a son. How is this possible? She cried and raged, and in her fury, she felt a sudden warmth in her lower abdomen. The world spun around her, and the midwife screamed, "Madam is hemorrhaging after childbirth. Call the doctor quickly." The courtyard descended into chaos. It wasn't until midnight that the doctor emerged, shaking his head. "The madam went into early labor due to induced childbirth. The fetus was too large and injured her body. The bleeding has been stopped, but she may find it difficult to conceive again in the future." Xie Yang's face was ashen as he slumped onto the stool, muttering to himself, "How could it come to this?" I listened to the servant's account in the mansion, sipping chicken soup with a smile. She brought this upon herself, wanting to bear the prince's first son. Is inducing labor medicine so easy to take? Shen Yueli would never know that the doctor Xie Yang sent for was specially arranged by my mother. That labor-inducing medicine contained an added ingredient. Not only did it make the mother prone to severe bleeding, but it also ensured she could never have children again. In this lifetime, she would only have the premature daughter she forced into birth. At the 3rd-day bathing ceremony, my mother handled the arrangements for me. The noble ladies and young misses of the capital all came to attend. Just as the guests gathered around the child for the washing ceremony, a servant announced, "The prince has returned, and he brought back that mistress and her child." I looked up and saw Xie Yang helping Shen Yueli through the main gate. Shen Yueli was draped in a white fox fur cloak, with a headband around her forehead. And she held a child in her arms. Xie Yang, taken aback by the crowd of guests, murmured, "I didn't expect so many people here." Someone sneered, "The prince is busy with important matters, so much so that he forgot today is the washing ceremony for his legitimate son." Yueli's eyes reddened as she stepped forward to bow. "Sister." I remained silent, only watching her kneel there. Xie Yang immediately helped her up, looking at me with displeasure. Yueli hasn't finished her postpartum confinement yet. What are you doing? Yueli stopped him. Your Highness, it's not sister's fault. I finally spoke. And who is this? Xie Yang didn't expect me to react this way, pretending not to know them to embarrass them. His face flushed red. Yu Li gave birth to my daughter, and I plan to bring her into the mansion. She's weak after childbirth, so you should request a palace physician to properly care for her, now. Quickly have someone prepare a courtyard and vacate the warm chamber. Yu Li is frail. I looked directly at him. The warm chamber is in the main courtyard. Are you suggesting a concubine should live in the main courtyard? Xie Yang replied. Who lives in the main courtyard doesn't matter. What's important is ensuring Yu Li's health is restored. Also, find some reliable wet nurses for Yu Li's child. She is now the precious jewel of the royal mansion. I looked directly at him and challenged him openly in front of everyone. Since entering the residence, Your Highness has not once asked about my well-being or the child's condition. Every word you speak is about Yueli. Every mention is of your daughter. Since Your Highness cares so deeply for them and holds such disregard for us, I shall fulfill your wish. Shall I yield the position of princess consort to her? Yueli immediately knelt down. Sister, I'm sorry, I didn't know today was your child's third-day ceremony. It's just that Mingzhu is so frail I had no other choice. I beg you, please grant us a place to stay in the prince's residence. I spoke coldly. I do not deserve to be called sister by you. My mother bore only one daughter. Be careful with your words. Lady Li. Xie Yang reached out to help Yueli up and held her in his arms. Shen Yueru, as the princess consort, you are consumed by jealousy. If you cannot act with virtue and kindness, perhaps it is best you relinquish your position. I nodded. Very well. Someone, bring the divorce papers for the prince to sign. The maid quickly brought the divorce papers and placed them before Xie Yang. Xie Yang, his face ashen with anger, snatched the divorce papers. Shen Yueru, I haven't even held you accountable for snatching the midwife and physician. And now you put on airs and bring up divorce. Once I sign this, you'll regret it, but it'll be too late. With that, he tore the papers to shreds. As long as you and your sister get along well in the future, I won't treat you unfairly. I turned around. No need. My belongings are already packed and moved back to the Marquis residence. Today, I only waited for your return to let you see your own flesh and blood. Xie Yang looked at me in disbelief. What did you say? Moved back to the Marquis residence. I haven't signed the divorce papers. Who allowed you to move? Shen Yueru, don't think that just because you're the legitimate daughter of the Marquis household, you can do as you please. If I don't sign the divorce papers, you will remain my princess consort for as long as I say. I smiled mockingly and looked at Shen Yueli. Didn't you say the prince loves you the most, yet he won't even grant you a consort title? It seems men truly prefer mistresses over wives, and secret affairs over open ones. He enjoys sneaking around with you but has never once considered making your status public or letting you stand openly by his side. I have been the principal wife for a day, and you all will forever remain concubines. Shen Yueli, you will only ever pick up what I discard, including the man I no longer want. Shen Yueli watched me and Xie Yang with a pale face, while Xie Yang's gaze remained fixed on me. Just then, a voice came from outside. An imperial decree has arrived. Everyone was shocked and immediately knelt to receive the decree. By the mandate of heaven, the emperor decrees, Prince Pingyang, Xie Yang, has favored his concubine and neglected his principal wife, disregarding all moral principles. He seized the midwife and physician during his wife's childbirth, plotting against her life. His virtue is corrupt, and his petty intentions are clear. We hereby grant Shen Yueru, Princess of Pingyang, permission to divorce him. Her dowry and child shall be returned to her and may be taken away in full. As for Xie Yang, his virtue does not match his position. We strip him of his title as Prince Pingyang and demote him to a commoner. So it is decreed. The eunuch finished reading the decree and looked at Xie Yang. By the emperor's decree, the Marquis of Jingyuan is a pillar of the state, with only one daughter. Upon hearing that she was murdered by the prince, he was so grief-stricken that he vomited blood and begged His Majesty to grant a divorce. Xie Yang has grievously wronged the family of a high-ranking official and is utterly detestable. His princely estate is to be confiscated, the mansion reclaimed, and the transfer must be completed today under the supervision of the patrol battalion. I knelt and kowtowed. Your subject, Shen Yueru, receives the decree. I thank His Majesty for his great kindness. Xie Yang grabbed me. No, this can't be true. How could you bear to divorce me? I love you so much. I broke free from his grasp. Xie Yang, isn't it Shen Yueli you love? Didn't you want her child to be the eldest son of the princely estate? Didn't you want to bring her into the mansion and give her a title? Today, I grant you your wish. He desperately tried to stop me. It's not like that. You are you. I know I was wrong. I just thought since she's your sister, you'd be happy to be together every day. I never meant to harm you. I let out a cold laugh. Xie Yang, in this world, you're not the only clever one, and don't think everyone else is a fool. I picked up the child. We're going back to the Marquis residence. Xie Yang tried to stop me again, but Yu Li grabbed his arm. Your Highness, I feel a bit dizzy. With that, she collapsed into his arms. While he wasn't paying attention, I turned around and left the prince's mansion in a grand procession with my people and my mother. By the time Xie Yang had settled Shen Yueli and her daughter and came out, he found the mansion in complete disarray. Most of the servants had already left, and the rest were packing their belongings, preparing to go. Before I left, I returned all the servants' contracts of indenture to them and gave each of them dozens of taels of silver, distributing the mansion's wealth far and wide. Just as Xie Yang was about to demand an explanation, some officers stopped him. Your Highness, the imperial decree requires you to move out of the mansion by the end of today. Please gather your personal belongings and leave immediately. You are not permitted to take any gold, silver, or valuables. Xie Yang had no choice but to take Shen Yueli and their daughter back to the small courtyard in Furong Alley, with only 2 old servants from the Xie family following them. The newborn Mingzhu, just 2 days old, cried like a kitten, extremely weak. But because Shen Yueli had given birth prematurely, taken labor-inducing medicine, and suffered a postpartum hemorrhage, she was already extremely weak. After causing such a scene at the prince's mansion today, she fainted as soon as she entered the small courtyard. Xie Yang was busy holding their daughter while dragging Shen Yueli into the house, looking utterly flustered and exhausted. Fortunately, when Xie Yang had set up this golden house for his hidden beauty, he had lavishly furnished Shen Yueli's small courtyard. He breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they could still manage for a while. Xie Yang took some gold and silver utensils and asked the old servant to pawn them to buy some necessities and hire a wet nurse. Just as we had barely settled in, the next morning, before I was fully awake, someone came knocking loudly at the door. When I opened it, it turned out to be my nanny and attendants. The nanny, with a cold expression, held out a dowry list. Your Highness, oh, no, Mr. Xie, this is our young lady's dowry list. Many items are missing, and we heard that some things were pawned here yesterday, including our young lady's dowry, so we've reported it to the authorities and demand to search the premises. Xie Yang's face darkened. How dare you, you wouldn't. The officer stepped forward from behind. Master Xie, here is the pawnshop owner's testimony. The gold and silverware in the pawnshop are all the dowry from the Marquis's household, officially registered with the authorities. Please step aside. If you delay our official duties, can you bear the responsibility? With that, he pushed the person aside, and several officers walked in. The matron led people straight into the inner chamber, bringing out several chests and opening them one by one for verification. Officer, this vase belongs to our young lady, so do these sets of head ornaments, these jade ornaments, this one, and that one too. The entrance of the small courtyard was already crowded with onlookers, pointing and commenting. That Prince Pingyang is truly shameless, even stealing the princess's dowry. Haven't you heard? He even tried to kill the princess consort for the sake of that mistress. I heard the princess consort's mother personally went to find the midwife and the physician. They actually dared to harm the legitimate wife. Is he insane? The princess consort is the legitimate daughter of a marquis's household. Would he really prefer that disowned illegitimate daughter? Is that even comparable? Look at that illegitimate daughter, she's like a vixen. Shen Yueli rushed out of the house and clung to the boxes. These are my things, you can't take them away, let go. The matron sneered coldly. Your things, how dare you? Master Xie stole these from the young lady's dowry and gave them to you, his mistress, and you really think they belong to you? You have no shame. The officer shouted sternly. These items are registered under the Marquis's estate at the government office. If the Shen family pursues this, you'll face a lawsuit. Shen Yueli cried out. Your Highness, these were gifts from you to me. Tell them, these are my things. Xie Yang was utterly humiliated. With the officials coming to his door, he wished to settle the matter quickly, but Shen Yueli kept pestering him relentlessly. He shouted loudly, enough, let go, these are Yu's things, let them take them away. Shen Yueli was stunned. What, nonsense, you clearly said you bought them for me, how could they be her things? One chest after another of valuable utensils was carried out of the small courtyard. The matron said loudly, all right, from now on, we're even. The people from the Marquis's household carried the chests away, leaving only Shen Yueli's cries and complaints behind. Xie Yang, having been demoted to a commoner, was searching everywhere for an opportunity to make a comeback. However, despite sending out numerous gifts, no one paid him any attention. With no way out, he thought of me. On the day of my son Sheng's 100-day celebration, Xie Yang unexpectedly showed up. Somehow, he had managed to sneak into the inner courtyard. Holding a jewelry box, his eyes filled with regret as he looked at me. Yueru, I know I was wrong. I came to see you and the child. Look, this is the longevity lock I bought for the baby. The box opened to reveal a longevity lock adorned with jewels. I instructed the nanny, keep this for Shenge. I looked at Xie Yang. When Shenge grows up, I will tell him that this was a gift from his father. However, I hope you will not come to the Marquis residence again. You wouldn't want Shenge to learn that before he was even born, his father wanted to harm him, would you? Xie Yang's eyes reddened. Yueru, I was truly wrong. Please give me another chance, won't you? I looked at him and sneered. A chance? When you drove me into a corner back then, you never gave me one. I can still feel the pain that pierced to the bone. The sight of myself lying in a pool of blood after dying from a difficult childbirth in my past life. I will never forgive them. Guards. Throw him out. Don't let others see such a disgusting guest in our Marquis residence. Xie Yang was thrown out of the Marquis's mansion under the scornful gazes of the crowd. As soon as he returned home, Shen Yueli rushed up and grabbed him. Did you pawn the jade bracelet my mother left me? Where did you pawn it? Go get it back. That's the only thing my mother left me. Xie Yang pushed her away. I pawned it for good and used the money to buy a longevity lock for the Marquis's mansion. Today is Sheng's 100-day celebration. He's as lovely as jade and snow. That's my son, the flesh and blood of the Xie family. Shen Yueli cried out frantically. Isn't Mingzhu your daughter too? She's about to reach her 100th day. Why haven't you given her a longevity lock? How dare you pawn my belongings to get by? You didn't even care when our daughter fell ill, and now we can barely afford a doctor. Xie Yang retorted angrily. Is that my fault? Didn't you force a premature birth before she was full term? Her poor health is all you're doing. How dare you blame me? You're the one who harmed her. Enraged, Shen Yueli lunged at him, but Xie Yang shoved her away. If it weren't for you, how could I have fallen to this state? I deeply regret ever hurting you. Are you for your sake? Now my wife and son are gone. What use are you and this half-dead daughter to me? With that, he dashed out. Shen Yueli sat motionless in the room. By the time Xie Yang returned after dark and lit the lamp, he found Shen Yueli had hanged herself from the beam, and their daughter had been smothered to death by her. Xie Yang was driven completely mad by the shock. Every day, he would rave, I am the Prince of Pingyang. Why haven't you come to pay your respects? Only an old servant stayed by his side to take care of him. As for me, I used my dowry to open a charity house, taking in and supporting many orphans. I often brought Shenge to distribute porridge to those orphans, teaching them the principles of how to conduct themselves and arranging for them to learn practical skills so they could make a living when they grew up. Chenge asked me, Mother, do you hope that Chenge will become a great hero in the future? I smiled and said, No, Mother only hopes that you will be a good person.